Ready?
I'm always ready.
Okay. I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Johnny Smith.
And this is On the Other Side of Things, the Smith and Sniff's new spin-off show where we answer your questions.
Hi.
Well, actually, to ease this thing into drive, we are only answering questions from patrons.
Oh.
So I asked patrons if they would like to chuck some questions into a thread on there, and by golly,
on their side of things.
On their side
which
of
is
things. So now we're on the other side of our side. Oh, never mind.
This one comes from a chap called Non-Stop Talking John, who's an auto electrician.
The first question comes from a patron called 26 West, who says, what city in the world is the best for spotting cool cars? I don't mean the regular supercar stuff, although certain ones are cool to see.
Well, I mean, Japan is up there because of the K thing.
That's what I was going to say.
And just the oddly specced things, like wing mirrors being in an odd location.
Yes.
That kind of stuff.
And then also, but sometimes you'll go, was that an Austin 1100?
Yeah.
And was it immaculate?
Yeah.
And why is it here? It's confusing.
Yeah, So I think Japan's up there.
Yeah, I'd say Tokyo.
And also, I do like, even though I've only been there twice and very briefly, I do like South Africa.
Oh.
And the reason why I like that is because it's a right-hand drive country like ours.
Yeah.
But again, I like to see weird derivatives of things that I'm familiar with.
Oh, okay.
So at first glance, you go, that's a Ford Cortina. And then you go, ooh.
Wait a second.
Yes, what's going on here?
Yeah. Hey, look, there's a Mark 1 Golf. Hang on.
Yes.
It seems to have a slightly different grille, and there's a funny ridge stamped into the rear pillar. It's a City Golf.
Exactly.
And it has the dashboard from a Skoda Fabia for some reason or other.
And switch gear from a
Mark
3.
Yeah, they're just...
It's like a Binzer.
I've been to South Africa once. I don't remember amazing cars, but I wasn't there very long.
No, I wasn't there very long. But I saw some interesting shizzle. And I know in the back countries there's some great stuff. So,
but actually, I think it's easy to take for granted that London is quite a cool car spotting city, although it's not necessarily always a great place to drive or own a car. But
it's a terrible place to own a car.
See some great stuff.
Yeah.
In ways that you maybe don't in some other major European cities, because... like in Paris, there's always an off chance you might see a Citroën SM, but there's probably more likelihood you won't, because everybody just has a massively dented Clio, or 106. Because I think just Parisians,
there's more vehicular disrespect, isn't there?
Yeah. I think it's just because it's just going to dinged up.
You are right about London.
Rome. I think Rome is. I mean, it's a wonderful place, and it's a joy to see the aggressively driven Fiat Puntos and things, but you are unlikely to sort of, or it's much less likely than London, in my experience, to see a Pagoda SL just casually cruising by, or a Porsche 959 seemingly being used as a normal car in rush hour, as I have legitimately seen in London.
Have you?
Yeah. Apparently it's quite well known. There's this white 959 that just sort of is seen around West London.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, it's mad. I don't think you would see that in a lot of other major European cities, or indeed world cities. London does actually
rural
have quite
Italy
a good car
again.
scene.
Rural Italy is good for cars because you get posh stuff, you get real peasant stuff.
Well, I sent you that picture of Alpha 159 just parked casually.
I love a 159
when I was in Italy the other week, and I was like, it just looks so good.
Yeah.
Just looked really good. But also because it's kind of over here, they're almost a bit of a novelty now because they never sold particularly well.
Yeah.
And in Italy, 159s are still sort of just a car. You do see them about.
I can also, I mean, not so much nowadays because I think there's a lot of second home wealth spec going on, but Cornwall also used to be really good for car spotting. Because it's the arse end of the UK, and there's that massive divide between the rich-poor divide's huge.
Yes.
So on the one hand, you get a brand new Range Rover with a 3-figure number plate, and then you have a really hanging Sierra estate that's just full of dogs. I like that.
There's a good question here from Edward Whitehouse. He says, I love Ashes to Ashes and Life on Mars. What would Gene Hunt drive in a 90s or noughties follow-up?
Oh, that's a really
I think
good...
a Lotus Carlton with the plate 40 RA.
Oh, wow.
He's talking about that legendary Carlton, isn't he? Or a Gen 1 RS4.
That's a good shout.
Sorry, that wasn't farting.
Would it be an
RS2?
RS2?
On a workout bench and it's creaky.
An RS2 if you were going to be...
RS2. Well, hang on. That was, 90s, I suppose, wasn't it? Early 90s.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, RS2, and then maybe the Naughty series, he's gone to an RS4, keeping the Quattro theme alive.
I could see him do that. What about a Mercedes AMG? What would have been a very late 90s one?
Well, they weren't quite as punchy back then, were they? 'Cause
No.
it was like a C43.
Yeah, there were a lot of sixes.
And they were okay. I worked at a place briefly in 2000 or 2001 where the boss had a C43. So I think it was a supercharged V6.
Yeah, I think it was.
And he let me drive it. And it was quite disappointing.
Yeah, they weren't... Actually, what we're talking about, E39 M5.
Oh.
BMW.
Yeah.
It's the four-door weapon of choice. I mean,
Yeah.
a Lotus Carlton has more mystique about it. But if you just want to get in it and turn the key and no shit's given, probably be an E39. I love E39s, I have to say.
Yeah.
The wheels, those staggered rims. Oh my gosh, look so good. So damn good. Sweet, handsome 3-box car. Lovely saloon.
Does
that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
A chap called Rich G says, what's the weirdest or most random gift you've received on a car launch? I love the story about someone telling another journalist that the TV in the hotel room was free.
And they took it.
Yeah, did I tell that story on the podcast?
Yeah.
I think that it's really James May's story. But it was when flat screen TVs were just becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And someone said, you can have that. That's the gift.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I've said this before. I got the Mondeo salad plate was.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
Was huge, absolutely huge plate.
Yeah, but because the launch was in Sardinia, wasn't it? And
yeah.
It was, I think, local earthenware.
It was a Potter.
But that was the global launch for that car. So they must have had hundreds of journalists coming through there. They must have overwhelmed the local, unless they had actually made like in a factory in.
Well, they put the order in a year early.
Yeah, probably.
We have 17,000 huge salad plates.
Weirdest the most random gift. I went to a preview of the second generation Jaguar XK.
Yeah.
At a hotel in, I think, Hertfordshire.
I went there.
Big hotel called the Grove. Were you there that
Yeah,
night?
I think I was there. Yeah.
Do you remember? We weren't allowed to drive it. In fact, there was only one car, and we had to go out onto a lawn, and they drove it sort of in the distance.
I was there.
Were you?
Yeah, it was very random.
Did we not know each other at that point?
I want to say we did, but maybe we didn't. Or maybe I just didn't see you there.
Maybe.
No, I was there. And they'd got a car indoors.
Yeah, but I think it was the same car, because then it was sort of like we saw it drive past like along this sort of road across the grounds a couple of times.
Yeah.
And it sounded very fruity, but you couldn't really see it that well because it was quite far away.
That's right.
And then there was a bit of almost like, hey guys, anyway, look over here. And then, okay, you can turn around and go back in the building. We went in the building, the car was on a turntable.
That's right.
But I think it was the same car.
Interesting.
But do you remember that the gift was a framed... It's there, in fact. Look, it's hanging on the wall in my shed.
The sketch?
It's a framed pencil sketch by Ian Callum of that car.
Yeah.
And... I think they're individually numbered, aren't they? And but it was just on the bed when you went back to your room. And I only had a tiny overnight bag. And the picture wouldn't fit in it. So I had to sort of cram it in, but it was poking out. And I realised as I walked through reception, I'd got it so the picture was facing me, so that all you could see was the back of a picture with a string on it as I walked out of a hotel. So it just looked like I was stealing a picture from the hotel.
Oh my gosh.
No one stopped me, but it was slightly embarrassing.
During COVID times, I got a cocktail shaker that was Audi branded,
Right.
Because Audi did an online via Zoom cocktail evening where you were shown by a chef, a proper barman, how to make.
Wait, hang on, but we both did one of those that was a one where it was cooking, but there was a bit of cocktailing as well. Was it that one?
Oh yeah, it was that one.
And we made arancini.
I can't remember what it made. It was a complete blur to me.
I was enjoying the fact that you were floundering wildly because you don't really enjoy cooking.
No, I couldn't. I just could not work out what I was doing. I was getting really stressed out about it, and then everyone was laughing at me.
It was on a big sort of mosaic of Zoom, and you could see other people. And I was like, "Oh, Johnny's not enjoying this at all." But also, there was that guy. I think he's an influencer or something. Who, because they'd sent you all those little bottles of stuff to make the cocktail at the start.
Yeah,
and then. He mistakenly thought the little bottle of olive oil was for drinking.
He just downed it.
Well, he almost downed a bottle of olive oil by
You'd have a greasy plop after that.
Oh my God. And I sometimes, that's one of those things, do you ever get sort of haunted by thoughts that just come back to you? Just things, and not bad things necessarily, just stuff that always comes back to you. Just suddenly go, and I still to this day, and that was 4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it would have been.
I still sometimes remember the Zoom cooking thing where an influencer accidentally drank a bottle of olive.
It was stressful. It was stressful.
It was, yeah.
There's been other randoms.
Other random gifts.
I've still got some strange shaped. I've got a little smart car which is the shape of a Jeremy thingy shoe. What's the name of that weird designer, Jeremy Scott?
Oh, I don't know.
Where I remember Smart partnered with Jeremy Scott, I'm sure that's his name, and he made a smart concept car which had wings on, sort of had wings, like the Honda logo.
Bell. Yeah.
And then he had shoes. He had Adidas boots with the wings on as well. And I got a little USB dongle that was a smart with wings on. And it carries like 6 meg, that dongle, but I've still got it in my drawer of dongles, which just sounds wrong. Anyway,
okay.
Okay. Here's a song.
Alexandros Theodorou. I hope I've pronounced that correctly, but probably not. At the risk of being too car related. If you could only drive one engine layout for the rest of your life, e.g. V12, V8, straight 6, etc., what would it be and why?
I think the crucial decider for me was, am I paying for the fuel?
Oh.
Because if you've got to actually feed it and budget for it, then that changes the game immensely.
But I think part of what I'm going to infer from Alexandros' question that you can only drive one engine layout, but you presumably can have any car that's got that layout in it. So you could sort of bounce about a bit. And for example, if you went V8, you could, if you needed to be frugal, go to a diesel V8, perhaps?
I suppose.
Get or an old Land Cruiser or something.
Or a Daimler 250 Hemi.
Yes.
Little Bijou. I love those. I've always wanted one of those engines. Didn't want the Daimler, but I do want one of those engines.
You could put the engine in something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's tempting to go V8, isn't it? But having driven our Eagle Quest / Statesman,
I was just about to say.
Thinking about the straight 6 and what a delight a straight 6 can be.
I think a straight 6 is the most balanced, inherently the most balanced engine.
Yes.
So therefore, and longevity on them is pretty good. The BMW straight 6s and Merc's straight 6s.
Well, that's it. And then you could have if you wanted a classic, you could get an old Aston or a Jag.
Of course.
And then more modern times, you could have lots of BMWs. Quite a few Mercs.
Yeah.
You could have a Lexus IS200 if you fancied that.
Of course.
From the first generation. And you could have a current Land Rover Defender.
Yes, you could.
Or certain Range Rovers or whatever. There's straight 6 options.
I like the 6.
And you could have a very odd 90s Daewoo with a transverse straight 6. Or, for that matter, certain Volvos or a Freelander 2.
It's a Freelander 2, yeah.
Or an Austin Princess.
Oh, it had a huge transverse
2.2.
Yeah.
So straight 6. I'm going to say straight 6.
Yeah, I was hovering over that before you said it.
Just because I think it's a bit sort of less predictable than the V8.
It's cliche to say the V8, and
Yeah.
it's a lovely engine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could really box yourself in by going, oh, I'm afraid it's 5 cylinders for me.
Flat 12.
Flat 12!
I'm only having a flat 12.
That's it.
So what we're going for
How's your
there?
Berlinetta Boxster this week, John? Yeah, he's fixing again.
Well,
but
it's
it's fine,
shite.
because I've got a Testarossa I've got my eye on.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's...
Sweet, sweet engine configurations.
Kyle Ayres asks, are there going to be any live shows soon, and will there be one near the Peterborough area? Well, we are doing the Festival of the Unexceptional in Lincolnshire, which is not that far.
Yeah, Grimsthorpe Castle.
Grimsthorpe Castle.
It's very
that's
close to Petersburg.
That's 27th of July. And as far as we know, there are still tickets on sale, though obviously we haven't checked that because we're not that professional.
Organised.
But he's asking for a show near the Peterborough area, so he has less worry about his Ford Escort breaking down.
Oh, really? Well, listen. I live near Peterborough. Just, I'll put the kettle on. Bring your Escort over. Maybe I'll do some vigilante detailing if I'm feeling kind. But yeah, we've got that. We got the one at Grimsthorpe Castle. We've got the one in London coming up.
Well, we will be announcing another live show. Actually, shows very soon.
We're going to leave you hanging.
Yeah, well, just because I need to double check that I can announce it, but soon. Andrew Armstrong asks if you could stash away any car from the last 5 years, later to be found in a late break show barn find vid. What could it be?
What? The last 5 years encapsulates the madness of COVID. So it's actually quite hard to remember what came out then. Something that was launched in the last 5 years, and it would be something I'd like to uncover as a barn find in the future. Wow. Can you rack my brain? What stuff that's interesting, quirky / other?
Well, that's a good question, because my brain went straight to the last version of the Jaguar XJR, the 575 one.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're quite rare.
Yeah.
And they're really nice.
Yeah, that's true.
But I suppose a more practical thought is you've got to try and get this running.
I know.
And wash it.
I know. Toyota GR86 would be a good one, because it was a really enjoyable car. That car surprised me.
Yeah.
It was way better than the GT86. What else? Ooh, there's something that really tickled my fancy. I know there was. Lotus Evora?
Oh.
Has that come out in the last? No,
no,
not the Evora. The other one.
The current one.
Yeah.
What
the bloody hell is it?
We drove it.
I know. The Invictus Games.
That's right. The eviction notice.
What's it called? The Lotus Eviction.
Because I want to say Evija, but that's the electric one, isn't it? It's the N.
People are shouting at
horribly so.
Monitors now, and the
Emira.
Bloody saw one today.
Yeah, that's funny. I saw one yesterday.
I saw one today, and it looked fantastic.
Because you don't see them around so much, but
I like them.
Nice looking car.
The Emira. That'd be a good one. I'd probably go for the Toyota V6 one. If that's okay, barn find people.
Lisa Monsterken says, "Hi guys, what, when, and how was your first sweet supercar experience?" Meaning driving one, or the first time you thought, "I can't believe I'm actually driving a insert name here."
Gosh, when I get put on the spot, my mind goes a little blank.
I suppose technically my first supercar, certainly my first Ferrari, was a Ferrari 400, and it was shit.
What was it, an auto?
Yes. Terrible.
The old GM 3-speed.
Ugh, it was awful. But it was awful. Like the chassis was pretty ropey.
It was soft. It's a soft rock
Safari. It's just clunky. But I mean, is that even a supercar? It's probably a GT car, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good question. What is a supercar?
So as the second part of Lisa's question, I remember. I can't believe I'm actually driving was Impreza Turbo for me, because I'd read so much about it.
Yeah.
And the first Impreza Turbo I ever drove was the RB5.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went in high,
you did
unknowingly.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
In fact, almost I would say that no Impreza has lived up to that for me, just for sheer thrill.
Yeah.
But having read so much about them, I always thought, how good can this be? And this was quite early days Impreza, but already I think people had cottoned on to the fact that they sort of had greatness within them. And I remember thinking, it's not going to be that great. And then driving it and going, okay.
I worked with a sweet guy called Anthony who had a classic shape Subaru WRX company car. My first journalist job. He managed to get it put through the company.
Wow.
And he is, as an ex Integrale owner and an ex, is it the Alpine V6? He had one of those as well.
Bloody hell!
Yeah, he had one of those. He wrote it off. He owned it for 20 minutes. That's
oh my god!
It's a terrible story.
And they didn't buy another one or get another one.
He got a 3-year loan out to buy it.
Shit.
Bought it, drove off. 20 minutes later, left the road and backwards and hit a tree in a field. Utterly destroyed it. He was okay. Managed to climb out of it. Like, the car was covered in petrol and steam. He was paying for it for 3 years. He said, a 20-minute test drive, I paid for it for 3 years.
What about the insurance? Did that not cover it?
I don't know if it did. I don't think so.
Shit.
Yeah. All I know is that he said it was an amazing car for 20 minutes. But he said it was yellow.
Oh.
So I think it would have looked amazing.
Was it an A610 then, the later one?
I think it must have been.
Because I've seemed to remember they did come in a nice...
He used to speak so fondly of... I know we've gone off topic here. He used to speak so fondly of his experience with the Integrale, but he looked me dead in the eye and he went, Johnny, the thing about an Integrale is, he said, it's like buying a boat. You put your money down, you buy the boat, but then you've got to keep the boat in the water. And he said, an Integrale was like that. He said, I shit you not. You put tyres on it, you'd look away, you'd look back, it needs new tyres. You'd put new discs and pads on it, you'd look away, you'd look back, they're down to the bone. He said,
it's like that famous cliche about the two happiest days when you own a boat, the day you buy it, the day you sell it.
I think unless you enjoy the process of all these things. I've never owned a boat. I'd love a boat, but
Nick Davies.
I can't remember my first supercar experience. It's bad, isn't it?
Well,
it's really bad.
Or maybe we won't. I don't know. Nick Davies asks, what cars on sale in other markets do you think really ought to be on sale in the UK? Well, somewhat predictably, I'm going to go back to K-Cars and ref my feature for the latest issue of the Road Rat magazine that I was promoting in the last podcast, because I think K-Cars make a lot of sense. They are proper cars. They
are real cars.
And I think...
And we don't buy cars fit for purpose anymore. So many of us don't. And I know I'm starting to sound quite consumery, but so many people don't really think about what they're using their car for. They buy because of aspiration, or they buy because they care what other people will think of them. And that's, especially in the UK, our roads aren't getting any bigger. Our towns can't really expand road-wise, which means most people drive cars you can't even fit on the road.
Yeah.
Which is why cars like 911s have actually started to become less fun, because they're too fat now. They're too big for the road, even the base model, even the Carrera 2.
Driving my Panda this past few days, I have reacquainted myself with the joy of having quite a small car, quite a narrow car, because you just do find yourself going, I don't need to stop to let someone through here.
No.
There's room for both of us because I'm so tiny.
Yeah.
And I think a few more K-Cars would really...
I love my Insight for that, because it's narrow. You can just thread it through.
Weird, isn't it?
It's not fast, but you could just keep the power on and thread it through.
Thread the needle.
She's bloody lovely. What was the question? What was the question?
Which cars on sale in other markets should be offered for sale in the UK? Do we think?
Well, yeah. I mean, and it's sometimes it's infuriating engine options which you can't get. Like, I think the Suzuki Jimny should have come to the UK with the 660k.
I'd love to try it to see how that goes.
I would.
Whether it feels a bit...
It can't feel slower than the 1.5.
No, it's true, actually, because it's turbocharged, isn't it, the 3-cylinder?
Yeah, so it must feel more eager.
Probably okay on power.
Yeah.
And on torque. Kieran Nash asks, can we have a Smith and Sniff / Auto Alex podcast at some point? We're always up for collabs with less popular car podcasts, so yeah.
Yeah, we're quite happy to do that. We can. Maybe I'll drop Alex a text. Yeah. I won't let him shout though. I'll say don't be shouting.
Yeah, and
just to remain just a chat.
No gurning in the thumbnail. The few people have asked, including Bjorn van der Ven, what are the plans for the Eagle Quest?
Oh well, where do we start?
Well,
we've had loads of thoughts about plans.
We probably need to sort of crystallise them. We do have plans. We haven't just bought it and then gone, oh, we're going to do it. So things will happen.
There's some sensible improvements, as in, to keep on top of its condition. It needs a door repairing and painting. It needs a crack in the glass fibre roof corner repairing and painting. There's a couple of door panels and things that have gone a little bit sort of warped inside. I'd like to replace some screws. I know that sounds boring, but there's some interior screws and things which I think we need now. I'd also like to hardwire some mics into the back so that it was permanently kind of podcast ready. I think that would be quite cool. And maybe put a television in it, but like a 90s television.
Oh, it's got to be a CRT. Definitely.
I just think that might be quite cool. Yeah, someone said roof tent as well.
We talked about roof tent, or even dual roof tent.
Roof tent.
I think some livery is in order, and we're still thinking about that because you had a cracking idea that we'll give some more thought to, but maybe something a little bit more low key. Anyway, we'll come back to that. But yes, we are.
It's here to stay.
It's an active project. It's
here to stay.
Angus Green asks, for months and months, I've been devoting an inordinate amount of energy to wondering, is Johnny's dad still gifting the bin men?
Oh. That's a really good question. Yeah, is he? I don't. Do you know what? I'm seeing him the day after tomorrow. I'll ask him. I don't know if he is. I mean, my mum, of course, did a lot of baking for them.
Ah.
So my mum would sometimes put a little Tupperware tub of some confectionery out for them, home-built confectionery. But yeah, Dad was overly gifting.
Overly
gifting. Almost suspicious, like, here, take the stuff out of my bin. By the way, it's not asbestos, I promise.
Yeah, it's okay. It's definitely, don't look in that bag for no reason at all.
Just take it away.
Well, we have a couple more questions. What have we got? Tom McNeil, with the Grand Tour coming to an end, are Richard's days as a script editor over? No, I hope not. I do sort of do other script work on other shows, it's just sometimes it's not credited. And I don't go on and on about it like I do with Grand Tour and Top Gear. And sorry, just
that's had a very good innings.
Well, exactly. I've had a good innings. Maybe not. Maybe I just call it a day. Go and open a small holding, even though I don't really know what that means. And I had a good question.
I could see you keeping some really leery horses.
Oh God, why would I do that?
Horse whisperer.
No.
Porter.
No.
Yeah.
Matt Hillier, last question. He says, DJ Khaled has donated you £1 million.
Oh, gosh.
But he has tasked you with purchasing a daily driver, a luxury car, and a track special. You must spend the entire budget, and you must pay the going market rate for the vehicles. What is the worst garage you could source?
It is so for him to buy them for him.
I wonder if that's the implication, or if it's just that you must buy these cars in the spirit of the man who's given you £1 million.
So £1 million for what? A track day car, an everyday car?
Yeah, and a luxury car. But I think,
and a luxury
with
car.
the sort of the you've got to spend the entire budget, because I was going to say you could buy like an ex-Theo Pafitas Maybach 62, but have that as your track car because
so you mix it all
you're
up.
An absolute spam javelin and you don't understand what the brief is. In the spirit of DJ Khaled.
Well, hang on a minute. Well, for your everyday car, you could put an order in for one of those TWR XJS Jags.
Oh, how much are they?
They're $250. They're $250,000.
Are they?
I'm sure they're $250,000.
We haven't talked about that on the podcast, have we? But I don't get that at all.
I
think it's horrible.
Do you think it's horrible?
Yeah. I
Do you?
think it's horrible.
I
have nothing against a modded or resto modded XJS.
No.
I love an XJS generally, but I'm not a purist about them. I think that one of the great things is because they're not so revered or haven't been, and they're not particularly valuable. People can go a bit off piste, and I'd love to see it, but that just does not hit the spot for me at all, particularly not for that money.
I know of two other people who have been working on the idea of launching a resto mod kind of recipe for an XJS, and they're a bit annoyed that this one's come to market.
Oh, I think there's still room for one that's not horrible.
The thing I don't get about that car is I don't get the Magnus Walker connection, because he is like, you cut him in half and it's Porsche. So why has he suddenly gone, hey, Jag? It's just like, what do you mean? He's not. I've never seen him talk about Jags, like ever.
Maybe they just wanted to offer each of those Jags with a shapeless hat that looks like you've sat on it.
I don't understand.
Maybe the seats are made out of his hats. You can literally sit on one of my hats, but then I'm going to want it back and I'm going to wear it.
A crumpled wizard hat.
Crumpled wizard hat.
There are parts of that car that I don't mind at all. But anyway, we've got off topic slightly.
Yeah.
So in £1 million...
I just think one of those Maybach... what are they're GLSs, aren't they?
Yeah.
I saw one the other day in central London.
Oh, really?
In a sort of zingy blue and silver. It was just
crap.
Traumatic to behold. So yeah, that's right. I mean, and what are they though? I don't know what money they are.
Yeah.
Lots. £1 million.
Yeah, you might not be able to afford one. And
no, I'm going to have that XJS then, just because I think it... Well, would Khaled like it?
No.
I don't think
you wouldn't be able to get in it.
No. Okay.
Really?
I'm going to have...
No offence, DJ Khaled, but you probably wouldn't be able... If you got in it, you wouldn't get out of it.
£1 million for a track day special. What's an idiotic track day special? Or probably like a G-Wagen, but one of those 6x6 ones.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine one of those doing a hot lap?
Because he's not clear on what a track special means. So and they're quite expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really expensive. Yeah. So one of them.
And then daily driver, I'm going to have... No, I'm just going to have do you know what? I'm just going to buy 3 of those Maybach GLSs.
And just use them for different disciplines.
Yes, exactly. Then sometimes get them mixed up.
Can you put some Michelin Pilot spores on the track one, and it will just fall over?
Cut slicks.
It'll just grip and tip.
Yeah. But then also sometimes we're assuming that we're getting these 4 Khaled now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not quite what Matt's asking, but fuck it. He accidentally takes the one of the cut slicks out to go and buy some more sunglasses on a very damp day in Miami, and just loses it and goes into a gully. And then shouts that he's still the best.
He's the best music.
As a crocodile emerges.
It just takes him down. I can imagine him having one of those limousines that have been made out of a supercar, which I just find...
Oh, yes!
Just so pointless on so many levels.
A very stretched Corvette.
Completely.
Oh, no, you go higher than a Corvette when you go, right, supercar.
Lamborghini Huracan.
Yes.
Limo.
Perfect.
So it can't do the things that limo...
Incredibly quivery prop shaft going to the front wheel, so it's still four-wheel drive.
Oh, God.
Spindly, quivery
carbon fibre
prop shaft
that gets caught on speed ramps.
Always.
Yeah, so it'd have loads of cut glass and weird pointless shit inside.
But crucially, per Matt's brief, daily car, luxury car, track special, that's his daily car, and it's forever sort of bananaing itself on a drive-through because he's decided to go for like some Taco Bell or something.
All those American driveways.
Oh yes!
He's late for work again. He comes off the driveway and just removes the front and back bumper.
Well, how about this? Daily driver, stretched Gallardo, luxury car, even more stretched Gallardo, track special. Inexplicably shortened
Gallardo. So extra
spins
short
at every corner.
It's extra short wheelbase Gallardo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or the £1 million goes into a single Gallardo that has an accordion section in it, so it can stretch and shorten at will, like that bizarre was it Rin Speed?
Or like that Mercedes that will.i.am invented, where all of the pulse inputs, the throttle, the steering, have synthesized sounds.
Oh, yeah.
So you indicate and it sounds like, I don't know, a narwhal, and then you indicate the other way and it sounds like an uplifting house tune. And then you gas it and it sounds like, I don't know, the Doctor Who theme tune that's been slowed down.
But these are all just Khaled shouting.
Yeah, it's just his
nonsense because
I'd quite like his track card to be hardwired to just be constantly shouting his isms back at him. Back at him. His isms.
Well, there we go, Matt. We hope that sort of answered your question. Thank you to everybody on our Patreon who put questions in. I tell you what, we'll save these, or we'll save some of these for the next On the Other Side of Things, because there are so many good ones, and I just sort of spooled through in a rather random way.
Well, we've got to start somewhere, and in the words of DJ Khaled, another one.
Another one.
Save it.
There will be another one next Friday, but there will also be another new podcast on Monday. Until then, goodbye.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Bye then. Cheers.
Song for this one, but I haven't had time yet.
Do you want me to do one? On that other side of things. On that other side of things. On that other side of things. Not this side, the other side.
I've been to that side. This is quite Euro. It should have a man in, or early 2000s Euro, a man in sort of delicate orange sunglasses.
Oh, they're really shallow.
Yeah.
Oh no, those Oakley ones that go over the top of your dome.
Yes.
The stupid sunglasses.
There's a rap bit where he comes in.
Yeah. He's wearing a Wesley Snipes.
There's two sides to everything. This is the side, but there's another side to sing. Yeah, shut up.
Like Scooter.
Yeah,
you're describing Scooter, aren't you?